Okay, so we are back for another video. If I sound a little weird, I kind of lost my voice a little bit, so that's probably why. Please just try to bear with me. Now for today's video, I truthfully had no ideas. I pretty much recorded every single game that's out right now. Literally every single game that I could find, I made a video on, and now I'm pretty much out of video ideas. Every month on Roblox, there's this period of time where there's just nothing to play, and that's honestly just how Roblox is nowadays. Sometimes it's just like that. And honestly, if you're someone who plays Roblox and nothing else, I genuinely feel bad for you, because right now Roblox is not in a great state. And so mostly because there's literally nothing to play on Roblox, for today's video I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different. Seeing as how we have literally nothing to play right now, I figured what better thing to do than make a video talking about games that are releasing very soon. In this video, I'm going to only talk about games that are releasing this year. I'm also going to try to talk about games that aren't super popular, so obviously games like Anime Legends aren't going to be talked about. Also, let me just clarify this list is not in any order whatsoever, okay? And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're new to the channel, right now we're trying to hit 103,000 subscribers, so I'd appreciate it if you hit that sub button, drop a like in the video, let's get straight into it. So for my first game on this list, and this is not in any order whatsoever, okay? It's not an honorable mention, it's not a number, this is just the first game. I have a game called Project Slayers, which is in my opinion the best Roblox Demon Slayer game we will ever get on this platform. Project Slayers is a Demon Slayer game very similar to every other Demon Slayer game, but it does have some advantages that those games just did not. First of all, the game looks beautiful. If you've seen any videos on the game, you know the game looks nice. It easily has the best final selection I've ever played, with the player needing to actually explore a final selection. And at the end, you need to fight the boss that Khantrast had to fight. You can either choose to do it with friends or alone. And the amount of people you choose to do it with actually reflects the amount of HP it has, so that changes its difficulty. Every single breathing looks phenomenal. In order to master breathings, you need to actually train them with your trainer. It's just such a cool game overall. I'm not going to talk about this game too long because I've done multiple videos on it, but the game just looks so good, man. I just love it. I'm not going to say too much about Project Slayers. I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. It's really just the coolest Demon Slayer game I've ever seen. The game just looks good. It plays good. It's just fun to play, and that's all I really have to say. To the next game. For my next game, I have another game that I talk about quite often in all of my videos, or at least all my top 10 videos. This is a game called Bushido, and I guarantee if you watch any of my top 10 videos, you've seen me talk about this game in the past. Now by that title alone, I'm pretty sure you guys can tell that this is a samurai game, and apparently it also has a story. Now the map for this game is being built by the same person who made GPO's map, and if you played Grand Peace Online, the map looks great. So the map in this game does look pretty nice too. Now testing this myself, I gotta say the combat was very enjoyable. It's pretty unique, and if you like samurai games, which people do, you're gonna like this. But yeah, it's a class-based samurai game with the different classes being different weapons. For example, there's the spear, there's the sickles, there's the bow, there's a few more, like obviously the regular katana. You can use those too. Each class does something different. It's overall just a really cool, really well-made game. I think the best thing they've done is the visuals. The game has great lighting. Pleasing lighting. And like I said earlier, they are planning on making this story based, so not only will it have good PvP, from what I'm assuming, it'll also be very player interactive. And it will have a story which you can interact with alongside player versus player, which is definitely gonna keep me playing. This is a game I've been excited for a decent amount of time, and in pretty much all of my top 10s, I've covered Bushido because it deserves that spot. So if you are someone who's interested in combat or just PvP specifically, not even against players, against NPCs or players, and this is probably the game for you. What I like the most is that the game does have that class system, so if you don't want to use something like a sword, for example, like a katana, you can use a bow and range if you want to do that. Apparently the bow class actually has a tanto as well, meaning that you don't have to run away when somebody pulls up on you. You can use that for long range combat. But yeah, that's Bushido. This game looks phenomenal. I'm extremely excited for this, and yeah, on to the next game. Okay, next up is a game that I think you guys are gonna be pleasantly surprised with, because this game released and a lot of people actually really well received it. But the only issue is the owner actually ended up quitting the game, unfortunately. And this is a game called Shonen Smash. Now this was made by my friend Ten the Warrior, and he is actually coming back. Now this game released, and I think it had like 4,000 to 5,000 players, and it was doing really well, but the owner decided to quit it. And that's when the game started dying, because obviously who's gonna play a game that's not getting updates? So those who don't know what this game is, or for anyone who didn't get to play it, it's basically Super Smash Bros, but in anime form. And if you've never played Smash, it's basically a game where you take a bunch of different characters from a bunch of different games, like for example Mario, or Terry from Fatal Fury, or Kazuya from Tekken 7, or Luigi from Mario, or Donkey Kong. You have them fight, and it's the same concept that they use for anime. You guys are probably gonna be seeing a few clips of gameplay right now, but yeah, you can see that it's basically a bunch of different anime characters fighting in a different format. So kind of like ABA, but a 2D platformer. And like I said, this game was very popular. I don't really have too much to say for this. It's just that the game is coming back in a second form, so they're not releasing the same game. It'll probably be called Shonen Smash 2 or maybe a different name. I don't know, but yeah, that's Shonen Smash. For my next game, I have something that I'm actually really proud to announce. Now, I can't show gameplay for this because it's still in development, but this is a game called Blotch 2. Now, my favorite Bleach game on Roblox is a game called Blotch. That game came out, did really well for a good amount of time, and then it ended up dying. But while this game was alive, I do think that this was the best Bleach game on Roblox. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe personally. They're actually making a second version of that. Now, just like Shonen Smash, I don't have too much to say about this, but I am incredibly excited for this game as I really loved Blotch. It was my favorite Bleach game on Roblox. I'm expecting big things from this. I've been wanting to talk about this in a video for a long time because this is a really hyped up project. Next up, I have a One Piece game that is also actually coming back. This is a game called 1C. Now, honestly, I wasn't gonna put this game in here because I haven't seen too much development from it outside of Twitter, but seeing as it's a One Piece game and it's also an incredibly unique One Piece game, I had to. But yeah, 1C is a Roblox One Piece game, but it's not like other One Piece games, really, for the fact that it's trying something new, and that new aspect being a story mode. Now, I don't know how far this game is gonna go because I've seen thousands, literally thousands of One Piece games come out. Maybe not thousands, but hundreds of One Piece games come out and die. So I don't know how far this game is gonna get, but it is something new, which I do have to give it props for. The game is story mode, and that means that if you ever played a game called, if you put a game called One Piece World Seeker, it'll be very similar to that, where you follow Luffy's story, except obviously it's your story. I don't really have too much to say for this game, but I'll give a brief description as to what it is. I'm pretty sure you guys already know. The game's main goal is to run around doing quests, and it actually gives the player the choice of either joining Marines or the Pirates. So whatever you want to do, the choice is yours. Honestly, this is definitely one of my favorite upcoming One Piece games, really because of the fact that, like I said, it's doing something new, which we haven't seen in a One Piece game in a very long time. When I think of unique One Piece games, I really cannot think of anything on Roblox besides, I don't know, maybe Final Chapter, but that's really it. Other games I've just been the same old, just get dough fruits and beat up bandits, and no issue with bandit beating. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. This is a story mode based One Piece game, and honestly, that's all I can really say. I'm excited to see this game release, and yeah, we're gonna move on. Next up on my list, I have a game that I have not talked about in one of these videos for a really long time now, but it's something that deserves to be talked about 100%, and that is a game called Essence. Now, I have not played this game in months, purely because the owner is doing a lot of development, and he's also a very busy guy, but yeah, this is a game called Essence, and if you ever played a game called Assassin's Creed, that's what this reminds me of the most. Now, if you ever watched an anime called Mangi, this also really reminds me of that. So it's a very weird game, but the game basically focuses on Greek mythology, which is interesting because it really does kind of play out like an anime game. There's different races and there's also different gods, and it kind of works like this. Each god has a different scroll with, let me restart. Each god has a bunch of different scrolls, and each scroll you pick up does different things. You can, for example, pick up a scroll that gives you lightning abilities or ice abilities. I think it was Hephaestus for fire abilities. So yeah, each god basically gives you different powers. If you ever watch Percy Jackson, it kind of works like that. But yeah, it's a really cool game. It follows a storyline similar to Bushido and 1C. If you're a story mode type of guy and you're willing to walk very long distances, this is the game for you, because trust me, this game does have you walk miles. I'm not gonna lie, I was cutting out 10 minutes of just pure walking when I recorded my video in this game. Now, they did actually originally make the game R6, but they turned it to R15, which I think is a good move for this game. But yeah, I'm not gonna say too much about Essence. It's just a really cool game in my opinion. I like the way the game looks. I'm into games like these where it's not just player versus player or just NPC versus player. PvE, PvP, I like a mixture of both, and I think this game has that really well. If you want to go against players, you can do that using different scopes. If you want to go against NPCs and new missions, there's a story mode. And yeah, that's it for this game. On to my next game, which might be the final one. I'm not sure. I think I have like 1 or 2 more left in me. I'm going to talk about a game that is very popular, but it's still a little bit under the radar to the point where I feel like it needs a little bit more hype, and that is Emblem Tales. This game is famous for being delayed, but honestly, that's a good thing. They should take their time working with the game so that when it comes out, it is good. Emblem Tales is a class-based fighter RPG, and I can actually describe this really easily because I actually tested it. When I tested it, it was honestly pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie. The game focuses around, or at least the game's PvP mode, that focuses around team-based combat. So there's 4 fighters, and each fighter does a different, or has a different class. Each class is something different. A class like healer lets you heal. Obviously, There's a class named Brawler that lets you just be a close range fighter with your fists. If you guys want to see some gameplay, there's a lot of videos on YouTube, so that's there. A good example of this would be, I guess you put a game called Overwatch, or like, I don't know, like a Valorant. It's not necessarily a shooter, but games where you're on teams and each team player has a different ability, or you can even use the same class if you want to. It's basically like that. And from what we can see in the game's trailer, it's gonna have a lot of open world exploration, so this is also something that I'm very excited for. Emblem Tales overall just looks like a really solid, really well made game. I am here for it, so yeah, I'm very excited for this game. This is one of those games where I feel like it definitely has a potential to come out and do really well, as long as they don't rush it. Okay, I have 2 games left. I'm gonna start off this second to last game with a game called Anime Force. This is the game that I believe has the potential to beat or surpass, get on the same level as ABA. I mean, it's basically ABA, except they're trying a lot of new things like throws, combo extenders. The game's graphics are beautiful. Props to them for that. The only thing that this game has that ABA doesn't, or my bad, the only thing that ABA has that this game doesn't is, I'd say ABA's combat is a little bit better and more refined, just more fun to play with, really simple. But if you don't care about that too much and you just want a game where you can just brawl out, go out with your friends, I'd say that this is a pretty solid game. If you like games like ABA with good graphics, and I'd say this is for you. It's kind of like Anime Online, but it just plays a lot better. The game just looks really good, and that kind of carries it a little bit. But otherwise, it's just a really fun game to play overall. Some things are a little unbalanced, but that's how it is in all of these games. So yeah, that's Anime Force. It's basically Jump Force, but also ABA. I don't know, it's just a cool fighting game. And lastly, to finish off this list, I have a game that I've been talking about for a very, very long time, made by one of my favorite Roblox developers and friends, Yaya Fino. This is a game called Towerbound. Now, if you've ever watched or read an, I don't know, I guess a manga called Tower of God, you know what this is. And for those who have not read or watched the anime, Tower of God is basically an anime where this kid named Bomb enters a gate, and throughout that gate he enters a tower, and the goal is to ascend the towers one by one. Each tower basically works like a level in a game, and his goal is to clear the towers. So yeah, basically Towerbound is a game made to replicate the feeling of Tower of God, and I'd say it does that really well. Towerbound is one of the few Roblox games that I've played in my time on this platform where I can say they perfectly took what they were trying to capture and put it into a Roblox game. I don't like how GPO looks very good and pretty much manages to do every single delve route besides Phoenix correctly. But yeah, I'd say if you like Tower of God, this game is the one for you. There's different classes, there's arena matches, there's floor bosses and dungeons. It's just a really, really cool game, and I'm always talking about it. In every single one of my top 10s, I'm always talking about Towerbound because it's just that cool. And if you watch Tower of God or read the webtoon, it's just really good. There's the spear bearers, there's the wave bearers, and I know I'm gonna sound really weird to someone who hasn't either watched or read it, but yeah, I'm gonna talk about this for a little longer because I do have some more things to say. But if you don't care about this game, or if you haven't watched Tower of God, feel free to skip past because I will do some spoilers. So how the game works is there's kind of like a card system, kind of like Deep Woken, where you level up and then you choose from 4 different cards. There's also different races and families, so you can get born into a specific family, which gives you access to different combat styles and abilities. So let's say you're born to the Ha family, or you're born as a Jihad princess, you'll get the abilities of one. You really would need to actually read or watch it to get into this, and if you do, it's literally free, so feel free to. Every single class that exists in Tower of God, this game takes and literally just puts into Roblox form. Like, you can control your Shinsu, you can upgrade it, level it up. Light bearers, they have boxes that you can actually move, control, put players in, get skills for them. It's just a really cool experience overall. I'm pretty much done talking about this game, but I think you guys get my point. If you like Tower of God and you want to play I don't know how else to put this, the Roblox version of Tower of God, play Towerbound. It's literally just that good. It's very rare that a game can take an anime or a manga and put it into a game, do it well. We've seen a few examples like Ken Omega, but this game does it great. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I do like making stuff like this, so if you guys want to see more of this type of content in the future, let me know down below. I'm really tired, so I'm gonna go straight to bed after I finish editing this. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.